Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. My name is Mary Jackal, and I'm the Director of Alaska Planning and Marketing here at Princess Cruises. I'm coming to you live today from Juneau, Alaska, where it's currently 36 degrees, which means it's not snowing right now. It is raining cats and dogs, though, and we are under a high wind warning, which isn't too much fun. But I digress. We are excited to have you here with us today. So throw your name in the chat if this is the first time you're joining us for one of the webinars on the Alaska land product. And while those answers start rolling in, I'm going to go ahead and ask the person who's manning and womaning the slides to go ahead and flip to the next one for me for some housekeeping. So just a couple of reminders. We are recording this session, and it will be available on OneSource after the webinar today. We also want to make this a dynamic conversation. So when you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them along our way today. And if you could flip to the next slide, that'd be great. Today is our fourth webinar series in the six-part series, I should say, which aims to provide you more information about our land product so that you remain the expert with your clients. And if you could flip to the next slide. It is such an honor to be able to introduce our expert today, Tracy Smith, who is our GM at Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. And Tracy, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? The picture on this front slide is absolutely beautiful. Oh, and look at that. There's a few more photos.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me this opportunity to introduce myself and share with you the special place that is the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. I've been with the Princess family for quite some time. I started in 1998. I choke a little bit when I say that, but I started working seasonally within the organization. I worked on board our rail cars, riding the train back in the day when it actually traversed from Anchorage to Fairbanks and then back the next day. I'd sell tours. I also worked other jobs on board the train, but worked seasonally for 3 summers before starting full-time year-round with the company, working in many different locations, including the rail division, our Anchorage division, which manages all the ship turns and pre and post, and a lot of the other elements of the Alaska Cruise Tour product. And then I embarked on the best adventure, I think, of working at our different hotel operations. I've worked at our Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge, our Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. I also worked in Denali, and finally, the gem of them all, the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. It's a beautiful property, and excited to just share with you some of the details that make it so special.
So Tracy, do you have a favorite? You just listed out a lot of our properties. Do you have an absolute favorite?
Well, my favorite is wherever I am at that moment.
Great answer.
Yeah. But, you know, the Kenai Princess Lodge is it's so special. Just on the banks, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go through this, but, you know, right on the banks of the Kenai River, these turquoise waters that are just phenomenal. The fishing, the energy of this small town of Cooper Landing is very different than so many other towns throughout the state. And you really just get a sense of inclusion and welcome. And, you know, it's part of who we are at the Kenai Princess Lodge, but it's also part of who we are within Cooper Landing. So it's just a really special place. So just to tell you a little bit about the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge, we are one of our smallest properties. We have 86 guest rooms, which is one more than our smallest property at Copper. 86 guest rooms, which are more like bungalow style. We have 2 nature trails on property, sitting on the 47 acres, as I said, right on the banks of the Kenai River. 5 species of fish in the Kenai River, including world-class king salmon. The record king salmon was caught on the Kenai River many, many years ago. And it's just a really special place that we share lots of smiles and make lots of memories for our guests as well as our fellow team members, for all who visit. We're often referred to as part of the product that is offered with the cruise tour program, where we're part of the Off the Beaten Path program. We're south of Anchorage. We're about an hour and a half by car, 2 hours by motor coach, about 2 hours from Whittier. So we're super close to the port, which is really nice. It makes for a really quick day for folks who are coming to or leaving. And we're right on the Kenai Peninsula, which is known as Alaska's playground. Between the fishing, the closeness to Kenai Fjords National Park, Seward, Whittier, and Anchorage. So it's just a great jumping off point for so much to do.
And Tracy, someone in the chat had asked, how far away is the lodge from Homer and Seward, respectively?
Seward, we're about 1 hour, and Homer, we're about 3 hours.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we're a relatively small lodge, but we're pretty spread out on our 47 acres. Our guest rooms are little bungalows with porches or decks and wood burning stoves, which is great. And you can kind of see the layout here on the map. We have the guest rooms, we call these the lowers, and then the uppers that are on a little bit of a hill. Each building has anywhere between 4 and 8 guest rooms per building, depending upon where you are on site, but gorgeous views no matter where you're situated. Lots of different offerings as well. We have, vending and ice machines throughout, as well as guest laundry, because nothing says vacation like doing laundry, right? We also have our main lodge building, which is right here, and that's where our dining facilities are, our bar, as well as a phenomenal deck that overlooks the Kenai River. And little known fact, we also have an RV park at the Kenai Princess Lodge that's open to travelers who are traveling through Alaska on their own with an RV. So it's an added element that is added to the mix of the adventure of Cooper Landing and Kenai, because you get to really interact with folks who are doing a little bit more than just coming up on the cruise tour. You're really you get to hear some really fun stories and interact with them. So it adds a little bit more to the adventure. So these are our beautiful bungalow style rooms from the outside, just below Slaughter Ridge, as we call it, which is a great hike if you ever get a chance to get out there. Some great space. Great place to just sit, relax, enjoy a cocktail or a glass of wine, and just watch the comings and goings of everything. And as I mentioned, we have a beautiful deck overlooking the Kenai River. And then it looks up at Mount Cecil, which is named after the founder of Cooper Landing. So sometimes we can see mountain goats up there. We've often have eagles just perched on the trees right off of the deck there. Some phenomenal photos. It's just a beautiful, beautiful property. And the inside of our rooms, as you can see, you do feel like you have your own little cabin. It's a great layout regardless of which room you're in or which building you're in, whether it's 2 queen beds, 1 king bed. We have pull-out sofas, and as you can see, the wood-burning stove. It really just adds to the ambiance and helps us achieve the highest scores that we have within the system for the Princess Lodge product. Some great opportunity to sit out on the deck, as I said, and just enjoy. We have lots of views from the deck, including all of the tours that go down. So whether someone's fishing or floating, there's also our local Kenai River Regatta. So that's always a fun time of year where you see all the locals heading down the river in their decorated boats, racing down to win the regatta each year. But always something exciting. And we have a very strong relationship with our local community. So we have so many folks just coming in for lunch or dinner or a cocktail and enjoying the views, and just a great opportunity to mix and mingle with local Alaskans as well as fellow travelers. We're really proud of our dining options at the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge as well. We have Rafters Lounge, which is our more casual all-day venue, open for lunch and dinner, as well as some amazing craft cocktails, and our Cooper Landing Brewing Company on tap, as well as other local brews and other fun things. And then the picture here you can see is our rod and reel dining room. Beautiful open space, lots of great energy in there, great decor to even just walk around and look at the different reels and fishing lures, and really can tell a story of the Cooper Landing area and the Kenai River. But we highlight our Alaska product. We have our wild Alaska scallops, of course, our salmon and halibut, our bison chili is one of my favorite. And then other just thoughtful, creative culinary delights that really add to the adventure of coming to Alaska, right? You know, for me, I love to travel. And when I'm traveling, I love to eat. I love to eat the local cuisine. I love to eat things that I might not be eating at home. And so the highlight of our fresh Alaska seafood is just really, really fun, and it's creative, and it's something that you might not get in so many other places. But being at the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge, there is so much to do. While we're a small property, there's still lots to fill our time. Whether you're getting out and enjoying some fishing on the Kenai River, you know, a full day fishing trip is definitely the way to do it, so that you can have your time to hook into one of the many species that are in the river, whether it's a silver salmon, red salmon, Dolly Varden, or rainbow. So lots of great opportunities there. And then we have the other adventures. You know, Kenai Fjords National Park is great, is easily accessed from Seward. So we're only about an hour from Seward. So it's a pretty quick trip with a gorgeous drive down to Seward to get into Kenai Fjords National Park on one of the boat tours. You know, there's nearly 40 glaciers that flow from the Harding ice field. And it's one of the largest ice fields in the U.S. Great opportunity for whale watching, including orcas, humpbacks, fin whales, Dall's porpoises, sea otters, stellar sea lions, and seabirds galore. My favorite time of the season is when all the guests come back from their Kenai Fjords tour, telling us about what they saw, the bubble feeding of the humpback whales, or the Dall's porpoises that follow them around, or the orcas that they've been waiting to see for years and years. It's just really fun to see the energy and excitement of everybody who comes back from that adventure. And even though you're on a cruise, seeing glaciers and wildlife, there's something really special about getting on one of these smaller boats and getting up close and personal with the glaciers and the calving and the wildlife. It's very different and really special. We also offer the float down the Kenai River, which is a great trip. It's not too bumpy, not too crazy. Great opportunity for seeing eagles as well as other wildlife, often bears, feeding on the salmon in the river, which is really fun. Also getting down to Seward. We have our historic Seward tour, which give guests the opportunity to explore on their own, kind of make the day what they want it to be, whether it's visiting the Sea Life Center, stopping in the different shops and restaurants, and just seeing the historic town that it is. It is the start of the Alaska Railroad, so it's always fun to see that train pulling in or pulling out each day. And as I mentioned, fishing's always an important element of a trip to Alaska. And depending upon the time of the season, we focus on different fish. And then finally, we have our kayaking on Kenai Lake, which is also magnificent. You know, that turquoise water of the river comes from the lake. So you're just surrounded by mountains and this gorgeous color, and it's just a great time to get out and have that adventure.
And Tracy, we have a couple questions about fishing here. So someone had asked if fishing, so essentially if you have a guest that's fishing, can the catch be shipped home easily?
We can work with, yes, we do have some vendors that can work with some fish processors in the Cooper Landing area that can help with sending it back. But we also offer a cook your catch. So if guests head out on a fishing trip and they catch some of the species that they're looking to catch and can keep it based on the regulations, of course, by the state, we can bring it back and we will cook it for you for dinner. So it's a really special element of the Alaska experience. So not only are you getting that adventure of going out there and fishing and catching, but then you get to enjoy what all the hard work that you just put in.
That sounds amazing. How cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really fun to watch that excitement from the guests as they come back with their own fish, and that's what they get to eat for dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah. So while Kenai Princess Lodge isn't necessarily on every cruise tour that's offered, there are a lot of great options, whether it's the National Parks Tour, the Off the Beaten Path options, or the Connoisseur. And the benefit of the Kenai Princess Lodge is that all of our tours include 2 or 3 nights. So it really allows guests to enjoy where they are. They're generally not getting up super early in the morning. They don't have a 5 a.m. park tour. So they get to relax a little bit, and they get to really feel the energy of what Alaska is. Of course, the views and the experiences of being in Alaska are special, but also just enjoying the space that you're in and sharing it with the people around you is really what makes it so unique.
And Tracy, can you talk a little bit about the accessibility at the lodge?
As far as guest room accessibility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great.
Absolutely. We have several rooms that are ADA accessible. Some have different accessibility options, whether it's a roll-in shower or a step-in shower. Some might have a step or two where others are roll-in. So lots of options, and we're very good at meeting the needs of whatever the guests require. So as long as we get that notification, we will make sure that the accessibility needs are met, for sure.
Fantastic. I wouldn't expect anything less from you and your team, Tracy.
We do a great job.
Of course you do.
Yeah. So why the Kenai, right? As I mentioned, our guest rooms are unique. They're not like a typical hotel room. It's like a boutique-like hotel. Even the main lodge building, we have our lobby there with a great opportunity to interact with our team members, listen to their stories, read some of the fun Alaska books that we have sitting in the lobby, and just enjoy the views. The views they're stunning. It's not like other locations. We're surrounded by it. Mountains on every side, the gorgeous turquoise waters, and wildflowers everywhere. It's just amazing.
When I was there earlier this year, Tracy, I felt like the rooms were a lot bigger than I had expected. And just the ability to go out onto the porch whenever you wanted was just incredible. So I really love these rooms.
Yeah, I love the space that you have. You're traveling so much and going from place to place. When you get into a space that offers a little bit more opportunity to unwind and have your own personal space, having that deck, having a couch to sit on, it really does enhance the overall experience. One of the other things that we really like is sharing with guests how best to get their wood-burning stove going. Very often we have to give a couple extra fire starters out to help them with getting their fire going, and encourage them to take our advice as we help them with their fires each day. But it really does add to the experience. And of course, our high level of service that we provide. As I mentioned, we are the highest scoring lodge within the system. We really have that opportunity to have that one-on-one interaction with our guests and provide information, share stories, or troubleshoot if the need arises. And of course, our culinary delights. I'm very proud of our dining menus, our cocktail menus, and all the services that we provide. It really does enhance the Alaska experience. And with it being so close to Whittier and Anchorage, it really does add to the overall experience, because maybe you're not spending 10 hours on this day traveling. Some of the tours do have the longer transfers, but being so close to Whittier, it's really nice either the day before, the day of embark, or the day of disembark, to just get to your place and be there and really just be present in the Alaska location that you are. So it's nice to be so close to everything. And the access to Kenai Fjords National Park and Seward is really special. We don't have many opportunities to get down there. And so being at the Kenai Princess Lodge really affords you that. And being on the Kenai River itself, it is world famous for fishing and for wildlife viewing. So it is really a great time. And then, of course, it's the opportunity to meet Oliver. Oliver is our resident lodge dog. He's a little 5-pound Yorkie, but he spends every morning and every afternoon in the lobby visiting with guests, playing fetch. I don't know how many pictures Oliver and I are in for guests who take them home to share with their family about the experience they had with Oliver. But they're always amazed that, in Alaska, you expect a big Malamute or a big dog. And then here's this little guy that loves to go hiking, loves to play fetch. And the number of guests that we have sitting on the floor with Oliver and playing with him and having fun with him and telling stories about the experience they had with him is pretty fun as well. You'll see him standing in line at the espresso stand in the lobby for his daily puppuccino. He does understand that he does have to get at the back of the line, though, so don't worry, he won't cut. But you'll see him at the lodge, visiting, walking the grounds, checking out the lupin and the other wildflowers, as well as just going on hikes. So if you get a chance to come down to the Kenai Princess Lodge, you have to make sure you visit with Oliver. But it is a very, very special place. We love the team who's at the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. The folks who are there know how special they have it, and the opportunity to share and create these memories, not just for the guests, but for themselves. It's a really special team. We really are a family, taking care of one another and taking care of our guests. And I think that's why we are able to achieve those high scores, because we really do care about each other so much and have fun working with one another. And we just like sharing that energy with everybody else. So thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. I hope that we get to see you and the folks that you tell about us. We'd love to share this space with you. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tracy. Appreciate your time. This has been super informative. The one thing I'd love for you to hit on a little bit is when I was there, I was surprised by the amount of walking that you could do on property and see all the wildflowers. Can you talk a little bit about the path that goes down the hill, then right to the river?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go back a little bit and go to the map here. Maybe. Okay. So you can see here on the map, the main lodge is right here. M is the main lodge. And we have two great walking trails on property. We have our nature trail that starts right back behind Building 7. And that can be anywhere between a half a mile to a mile, depending upon how long you want to make it. But you're definitely walking among the trees. You'll see so many different wildflowers. I love wildflowers in Alaska. The colors are so diverse, whether it's the dwarf dogwood that's white, or some of the monkshood or the lupin or the forget-me-nots. So many different colors and so many different species. It's just absolutely beautiful. So the nature trail is nice and great. It's quiet. We have some owls that live back there, so sometimes you might get a glimpse of them. We've had a lynx on property, and you'll sometimes see that back on the nature trail back there. The other trail we have, we call it the river trail, and it goes just underneath or kind of alongside the back deck of the bar, and it heads right on down to the river. And we have these observation decks or viewing platforms, which are just great for getting up close and personal with the river without going in it. But you can see the fish in the river. You can see some king salmon, some reds, especially after they've spawned. You might see some that are going through the cycle of life and decomposing down there. But with that, sometimes we have some other wildlife that comes in. So sometimes we have had to close that trail because of bear activity. But they'll come in and feed on the fish that are down there too. But it's a really great walk. It's a nice trek. It is a nice grade that goes down, and then you can follow that loop. And the best part is kind of right where K is on the map here. There's a little hut, and in that hut is a phone. And if you pick up that phone, we will come down that hill in a vehicle and pick you up, so you don't even have to do the hard part of walking up the hill.
I love that. How great.
Yeah, it's an added bonus. Yeah.
Well, thank you to you and your team
Yes,
for picking
absolutely.
us up. All right. So, Tracy, we have another question from Lisa Liu. I know we've got about 2 minutes left here, so I want to make sure we get to a couple of these FAQs. So is your location, is KPL open all season, or is it open all year round?
We are a seasonal property, so we'll open for the 2024 season on May 20th, and then we close September 13th. There was a point in time where it was open year-round for 2 years, but we found that it was best to focus our energies on our seasonal product.
Got it. Makes sense. And so Liz Johnson has asked about, do you need a guide on the trails? Just thinking about bears. So kind of playing off of the last piece of the conversation, talking about the hiking down to the river.
Absolutely. Our maintenance team runs that trail multiple times a day just to look for any kind of wildlife activity, whether it's bear or moose, because moose can be just as, or if not more dangerous than bear. So they're looking for that activity. And if for some reason if they do see any activity, we will close the trails. But when our guests are out there, what we recommend is just make noise, talk to yourself, talk to somebody else, sing out loud, clap your hands. As long as you're making noise and letting that wildlife know that you're coming, they're going to get out of the way. They don't want anything to do with us. They just don't like being spooked. So as long as you're making noise and letting them know that you're around, you most likely will not interact with wildlife. I've been up here for almost 30 years, and the number of times that I've interacted with wildlife is maybe less than twice, because I do everything in my power to make sure that I'm not going to. So I'm always talking really loud, singing out loud, talking to Oliver while I'm walking, whatever it might be, just making noise so that they know I'm coming.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. Appreciate the tips and tricks for wildlife. We're going to go ahead and close out the Q&A for right now. And I know we're right at time, so we'll play off the theme of bears. And if you could go ahead and flip to our Katmai cruise tour. We want to talk a little bit about this cruise tour. Mainly, we want to let you guys know that we did open this up for sale for 2024. And we'll go ahead and play this video and leave you with that. So thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, please follow up with us afterwards. Thank you.